Hey everyone, so I just tried to film this video and it was over 15 minutes, and YouTube has this thing where it's like, hey, you can't record anything over 15 minutes and expect to post it, so I have to try to make this under 15 minutes, and I'm going to try this time, promise. But anyway, this is going to be a book haul. I do have a few videos for you guys that I really want to film soon, like my June wrap-up and a few book reviews, but I got most of these today, so I really wanted to talk about them. So one that's kind of unrelated that I got in the mail a couple days ago is Henry the Fourth Part 2. I got this because I already had Part 1, and so I ordered this in the mail, and I ordered it to my primary residence, and I'm not there at the moment, but I went home a couple days ago to get mail because I knew this was there, and it had rained sometime while I was gone, and I don't know if it was the mailbox, like it got in the mailbox or what, but this was very, very wet when I opened my package. So yeah, it's very bloated, like hugely. If you look at the comparison, like there's the nice flat one and there's the one where the binding is already like, so anyway, that's unfortunate, but I am really excited to read this nonetheless, and it's now dry, so at least it was just rainwater where it's dry and it doesn't smell or anything. Like, it's not like I dropped it in soup or something where I wouldn't be able to get the smell out. So yeah, that's that. And I also, I guess I'll just talk about it because it's coming tomorrow, but it's not worth showing just one book. I also ordered this same Folger edition of Coriolanus, because I just watched the Tom Hiddleston National Theatre Live production and freaking loved it. I found it on the internet and I loved it so much, and so now I really want to read the book and listen to the Archangel, read the play and listen to the Archangel production, and then rewatch the Tom Hiddleston one after that. So yeah, since it's not coming until tomorrow, I figured I would just mention it. And also, book related but not a book, another thing that I got recently was I picked up, I got season 1 of The Hollow Crown from Vudu, because apparently, this is insane, you guys, the DVDs are $45, but the instant videos, which on Vudu you can also download when you don't have internet, or to watch when you don't have internet, $10 for the whole season in comparison to $45. I was like, yes, I will do the instant rather than the DVDs, and I'm okay without the special features. Yeah, saving $35. I was like, yeah, yes please. And so I finally got that on Vudu because it was so cheap, but also because I was very tired of getting it out of the library and not being able to read these in the meantime, so then not actually watching it, and then returning it to the library, and then putting it back on the hold list, and waiting and doing it all over again. So, one that I actually did read from the library the first time I had it out was Richard II, and I didn't end up watching it because I kept comparing it to the radio show that I had just listened to. But anyway, so that I read, and that was the library's copy. And then now that I have Henry the Fourth Parts 1 and 2, and then also Henry the Fifth, all with me, I'm going to read and listen to these, and then watch Henry the Fourth Parts 1 and 2 and Henry the Fifth from Hollow Crown. And I'm actually already a little ways into Henry the Fourth. I need to finish that. So yes, that's that. And then I mentioned Coriolanus. Coriolanus, I don't know how you're supposed to say it. But anyway, the play was amazing. And then for that was kind of unrelated to the rest of my haul. Little story time, I'm going to try to make it short. My library does this thing, they've been doing it for the past couple years, where they do a year-long reading marathon challenge. And it's called a reading marathon because if you read 26 books, there are 26.2 miles in a marathon, and if you read 26 books throughout the year, you get a prize at the end. And my manager told me about this like a month ago. So I said, when I go in to log the books, can I log books that I've already read this year since I'm just finding out about it? And she said, of course. So I logged something like 24 books that I'd already read this year. And so I only had 2 to go, which I read in probably like 2 or 3 weeks. And then, so I ended up finishing the 26 books maybe like back in May or something. So I got a little gift voucher for our Friends at the Library bookstore, which ours is actually in a branch of the library that I don't get to very often, so that's why it was burning a hole in my pocket for like a month. But I was finally able to go today. Oh, and they also give you a little 26.2 books sticker, which I thought was really cute. It's in the same style as the 26.2 for an actual marathon, so I thought that was adorable. But anyway, I was finally able to go today, and oh, I feel like I struck gold, which is interesting because I went in with all these specific books in my head to look for, and they didn't have any of them, but I still feel like I struck gold. Okay, so first, this just felt like fate. This is the Penguin cloth-bound edition, gorgeous, of Persuasion by Jane Austen, designed by Coralie Beckford-Smith. And Ange from Beyond the Pages and I are actually buddy reading this sometime this week. I don't know if we're actually both picking the same day to read it, or if she's going to read it and I'm going to read it sometime during the week, and then we'll just talk about it after, because she's on vacation, so I feel like it's kind of hard to plan a specific day to read it. But anyway, Persuasion and Emma, before this, were the only 2 Austen books that I owned where I only owned sort of an academic copy. I own the Norton editions of 5 of the 6 Austen novels, and this is one, and Emma is another. And I know it sounds silly to want like a fun, pretty copy when I already have the academic copy. And the Norton one isn't ugly. It's actually a really pretty blue, got like a really pretty blue spine, and it has a pretty painting on the cover. But still, like, it's also bigger than this and just not as pretty. So I really wanted a pretty edition. And I saw this and I about freaked out, because these are normally $20, and originally I thought it was $7 because there's that little 7 there, but actually that denotes something totally different than price, and it was actually only $3. So I snatched this bad boy up like crazy, instantaneously. I was like, I need this. So I do feel like it was kind of fate that I found it literally the same week or within days of when Ange and I are supposed to be rereading this. And I just think it's really pretty and lovely, and I hope it never fades. And I think this is actually only my second one of these, my other one being Les Miserables. So anyway, very excited for this. Next, I found Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, which I was shocked that this was there because it just came out in December. So I was really shocked that this was already in a basically charity shop. And the great thing is that you can't really tell. There's like a little dent up there, and then there's like the sticker residue, and the spine is a little bit loose. Like, you can definitely tell that it's been read based on how loose the spine is, but it's not loose enough that the pages are going to fall out or anything, and there are no markings on it that I can tell. So I was like, yes, please, because I did get this from the library, but I didn't end up having time to read it, and I don't think I ended up putting my name back on the hold list after that, because I knew it was going to be a long while. And normally I wouldn't buy a Star Wars novelization without reading it first, but my friend Jenny has read this, and she completely raves about it, and I totally trust her judgment, because for both of us, we both agree that Rogue One is our favorite Star Wars film, and also since she's read multiple Star Wars novelizations before, and when she says one's her favorite, I can tell that that's really good writing. So, yeah, very excited for this one. And then we have Mary, Queen of Scots, and The Murder of Lord Darnley by Alison Weir. Ware, I don't know how you say her last name. Anyway, help me. Please, someone help me on how to say her last name. But anyway, I found this, and weirdly enough, this was actually in the fiction section, when it turns out it's actually nonfiction, which I can sort of understand, because she has a lot of her books that are fiction and then a lot that are nonfiction, so I can sort of understand mixing them up sometimes. But when I got this home and I looked it up, there is actually not a fiction equivalent or fiction counterpart to this nonfiction. So I was a little surprised that they didn't realize this was nonfiction. However, I didn't realize it was nonfiction. Like, when I was in the shop, I totally thought this was fiction, because it was in the fiction section. So I was pleasantly surprised when I got home to find out that it was nonfiction. And I'm doing a Alison Weir, I don't know, project where I am starting chronologically at the earliest figure that she wrote about and going up to the most recent. And I think I'm going to wait to start this project, actually, because she has a book coming out in September called The Queens of Conquest that starts at right at the Norman invasion, or conquest, I guess, right in 1066. So I think I'm going to wait and read that first and then read Eleanor of Aquitaine, because Eleanor of Aquitaine, I think, takes place, like, sort of in the middle of when Queens of Conquest takes place. So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm going to be reading those, and then also when one historical figure has a fictional counterpart, I'm going to be reading that. Like, when I read Eleanor of Aquitaine, I will be reading The Captive Queen, which is the fiction counterpart to Eleanor of Aquitaine. So yeah, very excited for this, because Mary is probably my second favorite queen of all time. So my first being Victoria. So yeah, I'm super excited for this. And then last but not least, we have Phantom by Susan Kay. I cannot express my joy at finding this. This is the only piece of published Phantom of the Opera, shall we call it fan fiction, it's a Phantom of the Opera prequel, that I acknowledge because of its brilliance. It is so, so good, and it is better than any other continuation or prequel to Phantom that I have ever read, and I wish that Gaston Leroux and Susan Kay had been alive at the same time, so he could know that his characters were taken care of by her. So yes, anyway, I found this, and I have my own copy at home that I got when I was in high school, but it was the discarded library copy from when I was volunteering in my library, and it's falling apart. Like, I am very terrified to even open it sometimes, so I never reread it. So finding this copy, which is actually the same edition that my high school library had when they gave me the discarded one, I was super excited. This is in amazing condition. So I freaked out and bought it immediately. Like, just so happy. It's not my favorite cover, but that's okay. That's beside the point. So yeah, I'm gonna reread this, and reread Phantom of the Opera maybe this year, maybe early next year, but anyway, super happy about that. Okay, so that's all of them. It's not a lot, but I mean, it's a couple, and I got them for like $9 total and only $4 of my own money. Oh, well, and Henry IV, so that was $5, so all of these cost me like $10 of my own money. Oh, and Coriolanus. Okay, so Coriolanus, I don't know how you're supposed to say it. Anyway, so like $15. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope this uploads, and let me know what you think of any of these, and I will talk to you guys later.